there, and welcome. Have you ever had that nagging feeling, wondering if you're actually doing enough or even the right things when it comes to your faith? Well, today, we're going to break down a really practical framework that's designed to bring a ton of clarity and purpose to that exact question. Let's dive in. So, at the heart of this whole thing is a really deep, really personal question about faithfulness. I mean, it's a word we hear all the time, right? But what does it actually look like day to day, in the middle of our busy, messy, complicated lives? So let me ask you this, and just be honest with yourself for a second. Do you know exactly what you're supposed to be faithful in right now, today, this week? For so many of us, the real answer is, I'm not totally sure. And that can leave you feeling kind of spiritually adrift, just hoping you're pointed in the right direction, but without a clear compass. So where do we find that compass? Well, it turns out we can look to a story that's 2,000 years old, and we're not just going to treat it as some old piece of scripture, but as a surprisingly powerful, super practical guide for understanding our purpose right here, right now. You probably remember this story. It's from Matthew 25, and the timeline is pretty simple, right? A boss gives his employees a bunch of resources before he leaves on a long trip. Two of them get to work, they invest, they multiply what they were given. But the third guy, he plays it safe. He literally buries it in the ground and does nothing. And then the boss comes back and asks everyone, okay, show me what you did. And this is the moment it all leads to. It's the ultimate reward, the phrase that sits at the very core of this whole idea. Well done, good and faithful servant. You see, this isn't just about some far-off reward. It's the confirmation, the affirmation that we successfully managed the things that were entrusted to us. This, right here, is the goal. Okay, so how do we get from just vaguely hoping to hear well done to having a concrete plan to get there? Well, the key is understanding that faithfulness isn't just one big, abstract thing. It's all about stewardship, and it plays out across several key areas of your life. So let's start with a really important word, stewardship. This concept is so powerful. It's not about what you own. It's about what you manage. It's the active, responsible, hands-on care of something valuable that's been placed in your hands. This framework breaks our responsibilities down into 5 main areas, or domains. You can see them right here. Spiritual, vocational, which is your work, relational, financial, and physical. The whole point is that your faith isn't just for Sunday morning. It's meant to be lived out across all these areas. Each one is a space where you've been asked to be a good steward. Now, knowing these domains is great, but it's still a little bit up in the clouds, right? We need a tool to bring it down to earth and make it real. And that tool is what we call the well done statement. This is where everything clicks. This is how we turn a fuzzy hope into a crystal clear, actionable plan. And the process is actually incredibly simple, just 3 steps. First, and this is key, don't try to fix everything at once. Just pick one domain to start with. Second, you have to define what success, what being faithful actually looks like in that one area. And third, you write it down, get it into a single, clear sentence. And this brilliantly illustrates the power of that shift. Look at the difference here. We go from the before, this vague, anxiety-inducing hope like, I just want to be a better father. What does that even mean? To the after, a clear, focused, and totally achievable statement. It turns a wish into a plan. That is the power of clarity. Okay, let's get to the final and, honestly, the most crucial piece of this whole puzzle. And it takes us right back to that parable. It's not about doing some huge, grand, heroic thing. It all starts with being faithful in the small things. This is so important. Please, do not look at those 5 domains and feel crushed or overwhelmed. That is not the point. The whole idea here is not to achieve perfection across the board tomorrow. That's just a recipe for failure and a ton of anxiety. Instead, it all starts with this. Just one thing. The entire journey to hearing well done begins with being faithful over just one small, manageable, concrete thing. Remember the servant in the story? He was faithful with a few things, and from there, he was given more. So why does this matter so much? Because this simple method takes all that vague spiritual anxiety and replaces it with crystal clear focus. It turns your faith from just an idea in your head into a daily practice. It gives you a real, winnable goal every single day. And that builds the momentum you need to take on more. And that brings us to the final question, the one I really want to leave you with. As you look at your life, your different domains, all your responsibilities, What is the one small thing you can choose to be faithful in starting today? The answer to that question, that's where your well done story truly begins.